So I've been on the 5dev cranks for 2 seasons and I sort of gave it a bit of a cliffhanger in my previous video. Final ride on these cranks. That I was not riding them anymore, and I figured I'm gonna tell you why in this video. And I think most of you are wondering, did these cranks break? Let's take a look at the first crank. Aww. So this is the boy straight off the bike. So I paired these cranks with the 5dev chainring as well. It did come loose just once, and it was from a crash. Maybe I didn't tighten them enough, but I think I did. Lengthwise, this is a 165. You can see that it's definitely been in use through some rough times. And one thing to note about this first generation of the 5dev cranks is that they had the clear coat. You see this little color shift? This is like one of the spots where the clear coat is still on there, because most of it is literally not on there anymore. And I thought that was kind of weird to just put a clear coat on a pair of cranks, because they're getting so much friction from shoes and from wear that it's obvious that it's not going to last, you know? Another thing I noted was that the crank seems a bit lighter in this area. Did I actually come close to breaking them and snapping them at this point? Just on this side? I'm not sure. Did the cranks break? Aww. Unfortunately, they didn't. Even though we all like a bit of drama, for me these boys lasted for 2 whole seasons, which is definitely something that I would expect a pair of cranks to do. However, do you see this part? On the exact same area as on the other crank, there's like a light shift there. Do you see it? Right there. What is that? I mean, I'm not a structural engineer by any means, but it's on the same place on both the cranks. I'm like, is that pressure point that is getting like slightly bent? And because it's aluminum, it's like, I'm not saying that it's about to snap, but maybe there has been some moments that I actually put enough pressure here to actually deform it a little bit. Have no idea. Obviously they have held up, but I don't know. And in terms of like functionality and how these boys feel to ride, you can watch my previous video. This is the 5dev Enduro crank in Air Force spaceship bullshit aluminum. Talking about these cranks a bit. I don't know if this is a bigger shape, like a bigger angle than other cranks have. I feel like it is. Like I said, I feel a bit more stable on these cranks than I've done on others. And also the fact that you actually have a very close distance here from the pedal to the bottom. Sure, I went down to 165 in length, but also I think I'm getting less pedal strikes because some cranks would be out here, you know, or at least there. And these ones are just super close here. Why did I feel that it made sense to just not use these cranks anymore? As you can see, I get my coffee from McDonald's, billionaire, Chad. I just felt that I needed something new. Incorrect. What happened was, I got this sent to me. Now, before you're getting alarmed that I'm just another sponsored asshole on YouTube.
Fuck athletes, okay? They're just fucking showing off their genes. And they're not even their genes, they're their parents' genes, so get over it.
Yeah, build a bridge.
5dev sent me this box. They just asked me, hey, do you want another pair of cranks to bumble down some trails?
It's not been easy for me. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
So they sent me their brand new R-spec cranks. And these are a bit different, and I'm going to give you an overview. However, I'm a suspicious motherfucker, you know? Even though a brand is sending me stuff, I don't really trust anyone. And so that's just how I am. So I just started thinking about this whole thing. Shimano Saint cranks, they will never snap. So something with the original crank maybe was a problem, you know? And maybe the reason why they sent me the new ones is because they knew that eventually I would crack those. Sorry guys, dear 5dev, appreciate it, but I'm gonna keep it honest. I'm just gonna tell you what I'm thinking. So I don't really see this as a sponsorship, I just see this as a warranty thing, you know? Because in contact with 5dev, when they were sending this stuff out, the way that they were speaking on the emails was more like, send him a replacement pair of cranks. It was not like, oh, we're sponsoring Froride with a pair of cranks. It was more, he needs a replacement. Okay, so with the risk of sounding a bit like a conspiracy theorist. So first they dropped this Enduro trail crank, and this is the one that I had, the first generation. And then they added the R-spec version and put that at the higher price point. Okay, you had a trail crank and then you had a race-spec crank, and the race-spec crank was more expensive. But then they removed the earlier first gen crank completely, first going for 2 different price points and then just removing one of them and then staying with the one price point To me, that tells the tale that in essence it was only one product, but 2 iterations, and one of them worked good and one of them didn't work as good. And if that's correct or not, I have no idea, dude. But the problem with that is when they first sold it, it wasn't called like a light trail crank. It was a trail and an enduro crank. And enduro, I mean, yeah, that's something that should be able to go down a World Cup enduro race, you know? And those are some big drops and big features. So maybe the quality wasn't really there in the first generation. And that is totally fine. It's a new brand. So I'm not really bashing them in that sense. 5dev is like huge in marketing. They actually are really good at marketing themselves. And after that big marketing push, it would be marketing suicide, having all of their cranks fail, you know? So I think it's a smart move. You say that it's a trail crank, not usable for downhill, but the weird part is like that was not the case when they first released it. But I think it's like, okay, so they released another version, and now that's the only version that they have in terms of an enduro crank. All right. Oh, motherfucker sent me a sticker. I didn't get that last time. Thank you, guys. So let's take a look. First, I can see that it's no longer a clear coat, some sort of a stone wash or a powder finish. Actually looks a lot better, but it's more matte, so it's not shiny anymore. So the old one was shiny, new one is matte. See, we're making progress here on YouTube. We're doing stuff that no one has done before. No one has compared these boys, you know? Looking at them right next to each other. This area, wow, it's it's a lot thicker. And this area is just filled in, and this area has that sort of hollow. So that's actually quite a big difference. The new ones are a lot heavier. I think the selling point for the old ones was actually like, oh, it's lightweight and stronger, but I guess it was just lightweight. I think side profile is very similar, but you're definitely more beefy, way more beefy. Another difference is that it used to be higher Newton meter required for the torque here. So it was 54 and now it's 40. No idea why or how. I must say that I appreciate that because this you can do by hand. All right, let's do an actual side by side here. Actually, what the fuck? You know what? I feel like this video, it's way too nice and constructive. I'm not used to that. This is like $1,000 just sitting here. But you know, whores will have their trinkets. From this perspective, can I tell a difference? The shape is not exactly the same, for sure. The taper is different. It feels like the old ones has a bit of a more aggressive bend to them. Other than that, just the overall thickness, I think it's what makes the difference. Width is the exact same pretty much. I'm a bit disappointed that they didn't break, because that would have been fucking good content, you know. I was actually looking forward to just bashing another brand. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that today, apart from the fact that I think this is a warranty thing and maybe not a sponsorship. They did also send me a few chain rings I didn't ask for, and they didn't need to. So maybe they're trying to buy my ass, you know?
No one can buy me, okay? No one can buy me. No, actually, this is the best crank I have ever seen in the entire world. And this is the best crank I've seen in the entire world again. And I'm only saying that because it's true, not because this was not given.
Actually, looking at length here, old ones were shorter by like 3 millimeters. Distance from the pedal down to the bottom edge. Take a look, remember? Don't forget, okay. Are you ready? Do you see it? It's closer. So even on a 165 length here, it was better clearance on the previous version. So that's one thing. Brief little look here. So you can just see 2 years of wear and tear. So I think this updated version, it looks way more solid than the previous one. You want a crank that you can trust, because breaking a pair of cranks on the downhill section is just dangerous, you know? It's an expensive part on a bike for sure. But you know, a mortgage, college tuition maybe, or some food. Priorities, my friends, priorities. So we are going to take a look at chain rings as well here. But first, I just want to say, like, what do you think? Do you think that Mr. 5dev guys sent me these cranks because they really like me? You know, they really like me as a person and they want my body? Or did they send it because they figured that this boy bound to break and they didn't want that to happen? Which chain ring should we use?
Option number 1, black. Option number 2, orange or copper. OG throw ride setup right here. Option number 3, silver. Fuck, that looks good though. Why is it a 30 tooth? 30 tooth. Should I just try the 30 tooth? Okay, let me know if you want me to try the 30 tooth and just have this set up.
If you want an install video, you can watch my previous video on where I installed the previous crank, because it's exactly the same. And I don't think I need to do the same video twice, because I'm not GMBN or Pink Bike.
So if you look at the finishing on this area is different. So this is just all the way through on the original version, which is this one. And the new one has a matte finish here. So are you ready for the penetrating? So I went with the original color scheme that we had before, and I'm gonna let you guys decide on if we should keep this or if we should make it a different color. All right? Alright, so today we went from this to this. Exactly the same. Wow, what an important video for humanity. But honestly, it's like comparing the old one to the new one just visually. I actually prefer the old one because I think it was nicer when it was more shiny than with the matte finish here. But this is only something that's visible when you're up close. But I did like that this really felt like a big bling piece. You know, with the shininess. And this has that satin finish. I'm gonna try this out, and so that's gonna be in the future video here. As soon as the snow relaxes a bit, then maybe we can go out and do some riding. We also have a few other parts in the pipeline here, so maybe we will have to do those first before the next ride. Other than that, thank you a ton for watching. I will see you in the next one. Okay? Bye bye. Welcome to the brand new studio. We have some super nice high-tech soundproofing, nice little tripod area, a nice little camera setup here. And this is why this channel, best production quality on YouTube.